Or on this computer. Yep. Okay, so we're recording, and I can give you the recording. I can shoot it to your, send you a Google Drive link or whatever it might be. And then let me move this. If you see me looking to the right, it's just because I'm typing on my note sheet.
No worries.
But now that we're recording, I won't type as much because it'll be recorded.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's why I wanted to do it. I don't want to be writing notes and stuff like that, So
So you're with the company's called Pelican?
Pelican Roofing.
That's a cool name.
Later.
So, and today is the 26th, 2021. So
That's right.
what you said you're the COO. Tell me about how'd you get involved with Pelican?
Well, my background is oil field. I was in the manufacturing for oil and gas. I graduated from UL, which is a local college here in Lafayette. Uh, Graduated in 2003 and then worked my way up into as operations manager in the oil and gas, and then oil and gas went down, and one of my best friends owns Pelican Roofing, and he was just kind of starting out, probably about a year and a half or so in, and he knew what kind of situation I was in, and asked me to come sell some roofs, and didn't know lick about roofing, didn't know anything from fascia boards, soffit boards, and I didn't consider myself a salesman. Um, so, little time went on, oilfield didn't get any better. The proposition came surfaced again, and I jumped on it. And then so started out doing that, and we had ambitions to grow the company, and for me to get in sort of working my way up into, well, us to grow to where we created positions, right, and then get into a managerial type role. We're actually a little uh, looking back, I knew we were going to grow to a certain degree, but didn't really know how big. And then so we're on a pretty great trajectory, and my background is in management, managing people, and as we grow, certain positions are needed, and I did residential sales, sold repairs, and we got into commercial, sold some commercial jobs. Um, what else? And then also got into, as we grew, we hired more people, so I managed some people, and then continued to grow. And then kind of the idea wasn't for me to stay in sales; it just wasn't a thing for me. I did well at it, but it just wasn't where I wanted to land. And
Yep.
so here we are. Here we are, and it's been a very awesome, fun, exciting, and challenging ride. It's been challenging every bit of the way.
Yeah, I'm
Learn,
sure.
had to learn a bunch of new stuff, and as I got into management, some of that stuff kind of came natural because I had that experience already. But as it relates to roofing and uh, shingles and how many bundles in the square, I mean the whole nine. So it came a long way, and and here we are. So uh,
And
every
so
bit of the way.
when did you start selling roofs for Pelican?
2016, January 2016, did some sales and did some project management overseeing jobs. That's where it all started.
Gotcha. And now you're the COO.
Correct.
And so tell me more about that. So you are the COO, and then your buddy's the owner?
The owner, yeah,
What's his name?
George Goudreau.
George is the owner. Is he, what role does he play? I mean, I know he's the owner, but is he is he more of a visionary, all about the future kind of guy, but you're really more the nuts and bolts of the operations, or is he also pretty involved in operations?
No, operations is all on my shoulders, and he steers the ship, visionary into the financials and growth, and has a long term goal and says, "Hey, here's where we're gonna be at. Let's go." And then
Okay.
so it's like hold on to the seat. We're going. He pushed, very very results oriented, not up for the, you know.
So
So
he's very sales driven leader.
yeah, yeah. As we, we've this is uncharted territory for both of us. He's done some real estate, done a lot of flipping, and had some very poor experiences with that as it relates to various contractors dealing with so many different stuff, not getting callbacks and guys showing up and just doing poor quality work. And he was like, man, is this the best that this industry has to offer? And so he started looking into that, said, well, okay, roofing looks like roofers make a good amount of money. I can probably do it better than anybody out in our market. And that's what prompted it. And we've grown. He's been able to grow as well and learn and adapt. Very strong business mind and good with numbers and just has the ability to see things down the road and where he wants to go and gives us the tools and the resources to make decisions to make it
And so so Pelican is how old? You came on it in 2016. How long had he had the company before that?
happen. About a year and a half. So we'll be 7 years in July 4th.
Okay. And is anybody else on the leadership team? He's the owner. You're the COO. Is there
Yeah,
a
we have a sales manager, and then and we also have his sister that oversees all of the admin stuff, the payroll, payables, receivables, um, all that kind of stuff, HR type stuff, you know.
who's the sales manager?
Caleb, Caleb Williams.
Caleb's the sales manager. And then the last person you have is kind of like an office manager.
Yeah, she has about 3 to 4 girls underneath her that do various things.
Okay.
It was Katie.
Katie, office manager. Okay. This is just helpful for me to know your leadership structure because you guys all have direct reports, and our focus at Limitless is really on the leader and the leadership team.
Hmm.
You know, we really don't have anything to offer your staff or your new sales reps or anything. We just don't. That's not what we're here for.
Right.
Um, so you guys launched in 2014. What do you think your revenue target is this year? Where do you think you guys will land by the end of the year?
About 16 million. We've we've uh, we've we've pretty much doubled over the last 3 to 4 years. We've pretty much doubled our annual revenue and employee count year over year, and we're anticipating doing. I think 16 is probably really realistic, but we wouldn't surprise me if we, you know, if we exceeded that, did 19.
Okay. How many employees do you guys have?
We have about between 35 to 40.
35 to 40. So what are you running, like 15 sales guys or something?
Close to it. Yeah, we're in the process of hiring more. Yeah, I think we have 13. We just hired two. I think we're looking to hire a few more. We're in 2 markets right now, and we're looking at getting into our third market here in a couple of months.
Oh, okay. Um, in 2 markets, expanding to third soon.
And I don't, as of now, we don't intend on stopping there.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you can do it and you got the processes in place, I mean, that's how it works. Uh, to really, I feel like that's how it works to really tap into the 20, 30, 40 million a year company. You just can't do that off one or two locations.
Right,
So
right.
are you guys doing commercial as well?
We are. Not
Okay,
as big of not as big of a footprint as we'd like. We've been really, we first came into this, we did retail only for the
oh,
first 2 to 3 years.
wow.
And then we go to the IRE every year, and we try to network. And every year that we go, we try to bring back at least like one or two nuggets back with us that we can really work off of. And then we started hearing like, "Man, you guys on an insurance?" I'm like, no. It's like, why not? It's like, well, we don't have the blueprint. None of us come from that background, and it was a little cryptic for us. And we're like, we're trying and trying, and we ended up hiring a guy that had a lot of experience in that, and he brought on some knowledge, and it's like it just blew the doors open. And we've seen a lot of potential there. And then whenever that happened, so we were trying to do, we were doing residential retail, and we were trying to get into commercial as well, slowly. But then when we learned the insurance thing, it's like, damn, it just blew up. And it was like, oh, well, we couldn't even really focus on commercial. If something commercial came along, it's like we took it. So we really focused on the insurance side of things and learning that. And as we got big, we were like, okay, we need more crews, we need people, and we got to manage all this stuff. We need more people in the office to handle the funds and field the calls. And, we've got AccuLinks and all that. And then now that that's kind of like we got a good grasp on that. We've created some systems as we've went, and it's really helped. And then we've gotten to a point where like the systems that we created when we were doing 3, 4, or 5 don't work anymore. So we're having to revise those. And now we're thinking like, well, let's come up with a system for this. And we got to think scalable. Is this? And so that's kind of where our mindset's at. And we're kind of coming back into trying to get into some metal roofing, and also focusing real hard on the commercial.
Gotcha. Okay. So what would you say is your goal with the company in the next 3 years? I mean, I know I'm not nailing you down to specifics here, but you said you're expanding into a third. So do you think in 3 years you guys would want to be up to 5 locations and double your
Yeah,
sales force? Or
yeah, our philosophy is like this is fun, and as long as we can, we believe in hiring people, and I come from a hiring people, obviously, but quality people. And I've been in a different industry before where growing was not attractive because the more people, the more problem, right? Well, I've learned a lot of stuff along the way. Collectively, we've learned some stuff, and it's about having the right people in the right places. And as long as we can strategically do that, and we can grow without the problems that come with it from employees or whatever the case is, we can kind of mitigate that, if you will. Uh, we're like, as long as we can check those boxes and it's fun and it doesn't become like, okay, it's not fun anymore, well then I don't really see us stop.
yep, yep, no, for sure. So what would you say are your biggest, um, we call them the biggest challenges, the 2 a.m. thoughts, the stuff that keeps you awake when you wake up at 2 a.m. and you just can't get back to sleep because this stuff's running around in your head. What would you say are your 2 or 3 biggest challenges?
For me personally, in my role,
Yeah, for you, your role and also just the company.
um, man, in my role is the unknown. What's around the corner? What's coming that I haven't experienced yet? Because we've had a couple storms here this past year that we haven't ever experienced. We wanted the storm so we can capitalize on it. We found a way to, but internally we weren't set up for the volume. And I tried to plan for it ahead of time, and I under planned on it. I got my teeth kicked, and I felt about this big,
Yeah,
relative to the company because I pride myself on it. Now, once I got my teeth kicked in, I saw what everything looked like, and it was like fix it and the problem was solved. I felt really good about getting on track and overcoming that. But if I can eliminate that from happening on the front end, man, that's so much better. So for me, it's like for me personally, that's what gets me is like I'm spending a lot of time. Up until recently, I'm in a position now where I have time to think and plan, and I'm not in the weeds, and I'm not involved in every single job. And that's happened just recently within the last probably beginning of this year. Prior to that, I was in every job. I was looking at every job, and it doesn't allow a lot of time for thinking, planning, and forecasting. So now that I'm in this space and I'm like, okay, we're going into the next market. We've tried another market previous to the 2 that we're in currently, and we've had some challenges that were unforeseen. And so my objective is to try and as much as possible, know what I'm getting into before I'm getting into it. you know?
Yep. Oh yeah. No, you don't want to make costly mistakes. I get that, man. And everybody's had situations like the one you described. I think the difference between the guys that thrive and the guys that don't is when it happens to you, you just try to learn from it, be solution focused, and do better next time. But some people, they become bitter, start blaming everybody around them. They don't take responsibility and they don't learn from it. So, I mean, everybody goes through failure. In fact, I just saw a video by Gary Vee the other day that basically said entrepreneurs are failures. Like failure is a part of entrepreneurship. It's just a natural part of the evolution of the journey. And that, in fact, one of my favorite books by John Maxwell is called Failing Forward. And the whole premise of the book is that failures are just stepping stones on the path to success. It doesn't mean you're a failure or I'm a failure. It means that failure is a part of it. Like in Major League Baseball, if you fail 70% of the time as a batter, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Wow, what a perspective.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like if you bat 300, if that's your batting average, if you bat 300, everybody knows your name. Like that means 7 out of 10 times you
that's
are a
right.
failure at the plate. So anyway, so that's one. What do you see as one of the bigger challenges with the company? I think you mentioned it before. Is just the systems you have in place now are really not going to work if you guys want to keep growing. So it sounds like one of the bigger challenges right now is just keeping a solid process in place.
Yeah, I think I think we've adapted really, really well. I think we're operating pretty smoothly. You know, there's whatever we were doing just a one job a day or two roof jobs a day, maybe even three roof jobs a day. We had a certain amount of customer callbacks or complaints, nails in the yard, or whatever the case may be, and they always suck. But even as we've grown, we modified our processes and done some things to growth. And so our volume has increased, but those calls haven't. Still getting probably close to the same. You know what I mean? So it tells us that the things that we're doing are working. I don't know if what we're doing right now can work if we're doing 25 million. You know, so um, the or is that what you were asking?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what I see from us talking is just having a system that's scalable to where you can almost like Chick-fil-A your business where everybody knows the process, everybody's saying and thinking the same thing. You and your buddy George are basically making carbon copies of one another as you bring people on, or your sales manager is making carbon copies of himself, and not that everybody has to be the same, but they follow the same process. They can hit their targets, and you guys can kind of just enjoy the growth as you manage it.
yeah.
This is
Part of my previous background was in quality, and it was very, very. There were SOPs for everything. And I saw a need for it early on for some procedures and doing the same thing the same way every time
Yeah,
for certain processes. And we didn't really need it early on. And then we needed it recently. In fact, I just finished writing two procedures that we're going to roll out on Monday. And the idea is that we have everything systematized. So whenever we go into a new market, basically like, hey, here's the manual, follow that, and then we'll be all right. We'll be good. You know. So
yeah. Your
kind of where
chat.
we're going.
I think your challenge at that point though is going to be not only keeping the process that's documented, illustrated, and followed by everybody. That's the first challenge. The second challenge that you guys are going to have as a leadership team is keeping score and accountability. And because that becomes a big deal where as you guys grow, the need becomes stronger and stronger to have a solid company culture that people want to be a part of and stay a part of.
Mhm.
And then for you guys keeping accountability and keeping score and just having a scorecard that you guys can use consistently. um, how effective would you say are your meetings when you guys meet together as a team, not just a leadership team but just meetings at the company in general, where you meet and people are off with their marching orders, they get things done, and then the next week they report on what they got done?
I'd say pretty effective because we are a company of culture. Um, we have 5 pillars of Pelican, which everyone, we harp on. It's promise, principle, progress. Um, Shoot, I forget the other one, and then plays one of them. But basically, it's
Oh, that's cool.
we want to do right by the customer. We want to, if we say we're going to do something, we do it, even if we messed up on the front end, it costs us money on the back end. We're going to go and do right by that. It's a teamwork environment. We don't like anybody that complains. You stand out if you complain. You don't last like just a whiner or somebody that's real negative and bringing other people down. That doesn't fit here. So culture is big, and a lot of the people that work here, I believe they're genuinely happy. We actually got invited. We entered a contest that Dimitri put on one of his roofing insights with Apple Roofing, and it was basically share one of your team building exercises. So George shared with him one of the things we did, and we won, and we got invited to go spend a day in Shadow and just sit and pick their brain and see what their operation looked like and how they did things. And
Oh, that's cool.
very, very awesome, man. Like we were so fired up and so stoked leaving there because none of us we never seen what a roofing company looks like. So we were presented with the challenge and we're like, hey, let's talk about this, how we're going to get through this. And then whenever we saw the way they did certain things, we walked out and we're like, man, we've been doing it this way for this long. And it was like, we could have been doing it this way. So we were pretty geeked out whenever we left there and we came and everything we learned we implemented, So
Yeah.
so I guess to your point, I feel like the meetings aren't effective because everybody buys into what our leadership approach. Um, Not to say that there couldn't be any improvement, but we don't have a real high turnover rate. People are staying, and I think that's a critical to our hiring process. You know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. So what kind of accountability exists right now? How do you guys follow up with people, set clear targets and expectations for people, reward and penalize people, stuff like that?
Yeah, so we're big on accountability. Sales has their targets. They gotta hit certain number of contracts or closed deals. Operations, we have to produce a certain amount of jobs per month, and or square count. Um, and it's as far as for you talking about like for the are the leaders or some of the staff and the other people that's like
Everybody.
everybody. There like I can't really say how to I don't have a process for that, but I know that if something is asked of someone to do and it doesn't get done, there like it doesn't go under the radar, it's addressed, and we expect it to get corrected, and it usually does. If it doesn't, that person doesn't stay.
Yep. No, I hear you. Um, okay, cool, man. This is really helpful for me to understand your business better. You guys have a strong sense of culture. You've been successful. Statistically, within 3 years, most small businesses fail. And so you guys have gotten past that big milestone. You're doing commercial. You're past 10 million a year in revenue. You have a growing team. You're strengthening your processes now, and this just really helps me understand kind of where you guys are at. So, I guess what prompted you to reach out? Are you guys looking for some sort of group to join or consulting program, or what are you looking to get?
Man, I wasn't even really as familiar with Limitless as I am now since you and I connected on LinkedIn. It started out with like I just wanna connect with people that have already done the things that we're trying to do and try to learn from them and also hopefully maybe provide any type of value back that I can. Uh, I saw one of the things that was surprising to me was when I read up a little, I heard your interview with Brad and I read up on him. He's a COO of Cornerstone, which is a big company, and he's been there a short while, and his roofing background isn't very long. So, it's like, wow, he moved up to that position being in roofing for a short period. And it's like, dang, I'm going to be able to provide some value to him in some degree as it relates to roofing knowledge, product knowledge. But I don't know. I don't know. But if I could, I'm real eager to share anything that I learned along the way. I really enjoy that. Um, so just for that, man, I want to do the best job that I can for the company. I take a tremendous amount of pride in what I do. I hate failing. I hate it with a passion. Um, and I want us to grow. I want it to continue to be fun. I don't want to get my teeth kicked in again. And and I think it's just fun, man. I think anytime you can link up with people that have a common interest as you do, then I think it only good can really come out of it. So just looking for success, whether it's personal success in my position or uh, success in the company, and help us get to that next milestone. So that's really what prompted it. And aside from that, without really having like you know a precise pinpoint objective, I hadn't really got that far. I'm just kind of going down this journey and seeing what's out there, and just what can help us get to that next step and beyond. And that's pretty much what prompted it, man. And whenever
That's great.
when you was like, hey man, anytime, and if I can offer you a warm welcome to anybody in my network, I thought that really blew me away. 'Cause I come from the oil field where it's everybody was like kind of buddy buddy, even though it's like you were both bidding on the same type of work. There was no animosity there. You still go drink a beer after work if that's what you did, or whatever the case may be. Then I get into this industry and I'm like, wow, pretty. Like people mouthing you out there, and you're like, it's just very, very weird to me. And then so I've already kind of that around myself where like everybody's kind of guarded and you don't really share or you don't help the next man. And so when I was listening to Hunter's podcast with you, one of the things I got from him was that very eagerness to share and help people learn. And I was like, wow, I like that. That helps us because if we were in a position, we would be so much more than happy to be able to pay that forward and give it to somebody else that's trying to do right and come up in the industry. And when I
Yeah,
saw that, it was very encouraging to me, like, wow, okay, there's people out there that genuinely want to help other people, like myself. And it's kind of the stuff that we want to be a part of. And if we can get that and then provide something in return to him or anyone else, man, that's a big win, you know?
totally. Well, that's our passion too. I mean, we are all about equipping leaders like you to remove the limits on their own leadership and their own position and their own company. And we are all limited. I mean,
Right.
I've got strengths and weaknesses. We all do. And we're all limited by our own experience, our knowledge, and our natural wiring. And and so our passion is bringing owners and key executives together in small groups, so that just like you guys got to go sit and kind of look behind the scenes of that company and kind of see how they operated. Our passion is bringing guys together in small groups. They're capped at 10 members each. We call them roofing CEO groups. And you get to sit and learn from other owners and key executives in roofing companies about how they do their hiring, how they do their sales training, how they break through their own mental barriers, how they deal with stress, how they deal with finances, profit margins, all of it. And and that's our passion, man, is because that is the biggest challenge, I think, is just ignorance and lack of experience. And you don't want to make a costly mistake. Well, what if before you guys make a strategic decision, you bounce that decision off of 10 other roofing owners and key executives? And so you've just 10x the amount of wisdom and experience you have, instead of one
Mhm.
guy with whatever it is, 40 years, 30 years of experience. Now you've got 400 years worth of experience, all looking at the same challenge together. And I think it's priceless. And so that's what Limitless does. That's what we're passionate about. And I think it would be awesome for you guys to consider joining a group, because um, you dealing with that unknown, that's what you would get. You basically would get it's a peer advisory group. So you'd get kind of like a team of advisors helping you make strategic decisions, bouncing ideas. And that's the goal. It's not like, hey guys, what do you think about this? And people are like, oh man, I can't believe he's asking this question. They're in the group for that reason. And some of these
Hmm.
guys have been in a few years, and some of these guys have been in for business for 20 years, but they know they haven't learned it all, right? You never arrive.
Hmm.
Like it's never like, hey, I just arrived at destination success. I mean, it's a
Right,
moving
right.
target. It's a moving target. Like
Yeah.
success depends on your definition of success. And so that's what we do. We have a monthly meeting. It's a 2.5 hour meeting with a 15-minute break. In that meeting, we go through what I call the strategy and the process. So we use a content system called EOS. It stands for Entrepreneur Operating System. Cornerstone Construction runs on EOS. Brad Barron is, they're doing EOS. We do EOS. I'm an authorized EOS implementer myself. Big believer in their program. So that monthly meeting for 2.5 hours is giving you the templates, the tools, and the training on how to implement EOS in your company. Basically, how to Chick-fil-A your company.
Hmm.
You've got the processes, you've got the what we call the 6 key components of your business, everything from planning to keeping score to building your culture, getting the right people in the right seats, to dealing with issues and uncovering and dealing with issues. So the goal is to make you strong in the 6 key areas of your business. Nobody's 100% strength. Then we also have a monthly meeting that's 2 weeks later, and that is purely a peer feedback meeting, and it's 90 minutes. And in that meeting, that's where you can throw an idea out on the table saying, hey guys, we're about to expand into our 3rd location. We are going to have people working remote and it's not drivable. We want to make sure our processes are nailed down and including our hiring process. And just, we want some accountability. What do you guys think about that? Well, man, you're going to get feedback by each person for 5 to 10 minutes each. And they're going to say, okay, look, we did that too. Don't do this and do this. Like you're going to get solid feedback from a band of brothers who are business owners and key executives like yourself. And so that's what we do, man. We're super passionate about it because I really think at that point, you do become limitless. Like you are removing the limits on your own leadership as an individual, because now you're like a SEAL team. You got a team of guys around you to help you accomplish big goals and not make costly mistakes.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
there's other programs out there too, like Hunter has a program called Revolt, very similar, except their groups are bigger. They're 25 to 30 members per group. Ours are capped at 10 because I'm a big believer that once you get past 10 or 11 guys, you just can't go that deep.
Yeah.
So ours are capped at 10, theirs are at 25 to 30. They have more in-person events than we do. If you become a member at Revolt, they do a retreat. They do, you get tickets to RoofCon. You get tickets, I think, to Roof Cruise, which is a conference on a cruise ship.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
they're trying to make it more experiential, I guess. Um, and then there's other programs out there too that are similar to ours, like Breakthrough Academy. They've got one that's similar as far as like the business content they take you through, and it's a bi-weekly meeting just like ours. They also do in-person event, but their groups are much bigger. They're 20 to 30 members each, and their groups are for contractors, not just owners and key executives and roofing companies. So we are laser focused on roofing.
I
You
like
can be a
that.
general contractor, but the bulk of your business needs to be roofing, or you're really not the best fit for our groups. Because my whole thing is if we get laser focused, that's when you get power. I mean, like the sun has billions of kilowatts of energy, right? But it can't cut through steel or cut through a diamond. But you can get a laser cutter with just a few kilowatts, but it's focused on a specific point, and you can cut through the hardest substances on earth. And I think that's just the power of getting focused, keeping the group small, having a strategy for every month. I know in advance what the next 24 meetings of our CEO group are going to look like because we have a specific strategy in place with the EOS content. And then we also determine a year ahead of time what the topics will be in our peer feedback group meetings, the 90-minute meetings. So it's pretty structured. It's very focused, and I really believe it's the key to accomplish your goals, man.
Yeah, I like the 10, the cap at the 10 guys. The 20 to 25 seems a little bit much. It's hard to really get in. It seems it's too. I don't know. I like the laser focus in the smaller group. Sure.
Yep.
Now so you said there's two meetings per month. One is 2 hours and 15 minutes with a 15-minute break. That one focuses on the EOS process, and then 90 days. What 2 weeks later you meet, and then it's the 10 people, and you just kind of is it a structured type of meeting where we're gonna, hey, we
It,
talk about this today, or is it round table or what?
it's a round table, but it is structured. I mean, we're not just going to show up and just catch up and talk. That's not that we
Uh,
can do that outside of the meeting.
uh,
But it is a round table. Basically, I'll throw an idea out on the table and I'll say, okay, guys, in this meeting, and you'll get an email ahead of time say, hey, be thinking about this. What we're going to be talking about at our next roundtable is how to um, how to maximize profit margins. So please be thinking about the two or three things you've done over the last few years that have brought health to your profit margins, and be ready to share that and be ready to ask questions about that.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's less formal, but it is structured for sure.
Okay, okay. And so so this is a membership. It's a monthly membership, I guess, and the EOS process. So is it a membership? So I guess the EOS portion, is that an ongoing thing, or is that like, say, after 6 months, then we've covered everything in the course, you're done? Or is it
No,
just like continuing?
the EOS stuff will take you at least a year to fully implement.
Okay, well, it was just the 6 month
Yep.
thing was just an arbitrary time frame. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if there was like a end involved, or is it just an ongoing thing
So
as long as you're.
so you eventually graduate from the EOS portion of it. Once you get through, you're going to get a leadership team manual. It's about this thick. Once you go through all the 6 key components and you've got your processes in place and the leadership team on board and you've got your organizational structure mapped out, you guys have got a 10-year picture, you got a 3-year plan, you got annual goals, you got 90-day, what we call rocks. And you guys are just rocking and rolling. At that point, it really becomes, I would want to stay in touch with you maybe just on a quarterly basis, um, to see how it's going. But at that point, you would be done with EOS.
So it's a year-long membership. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So if you sign up for a Limitless group, it's a 1-year commitment. The price is 10K per year, and
Okay.
that's due up front. We don't want any tire kickers. We don't want people to join for 3 months and then say, I don't know if I can keep making the meetings. Just don't sign up, because the strength to the group is the commitment to know that when you show up, there's 9 other guys that are going to be there too. And you guys are going to challenge each other and keep each other accountable and encourage each other. Um, so, so right now it's 10K for the year. Our overhead is low because we're new and we've been growing slowly on purpose. But as things grow, I mean, I anticipate the next group is probably going to be 12K each member, just because we're going to start growing our sales process, possibly start spending some money on ads and stuff like that. But right now it's 10K for the year.
Um, how long have you been doing this venture, and how many members do you have?
Yeah. So we just launched this about 6 months ago. The
Oh,
first
wow.
thing I'm like you, I came into this business from the outside. I was actually in healthcare before this as an account executive and consultant. Um, and in the more white collar world, this CEO peer group thing is more common. And my business mentor is a guy that's hosted over 5,000 of these type of meetings. And so we bounce ideas off. Well, more, he doesn't bounce ideas off me very much, but I bounce ideas off of him all the time. And and so I thought, you know what? Why don't we bring something like Vistage, which Vistage Worldwide is the biggest CEO peer group company. They have 25,000 members, but they bring in CEOs and key executives from all different verticals into the same group. So you might be sitting across from the CEO of a software company, and they do that so that there's no direct competition. But my thing with that is, what does the CEO of a software company know about your issues with overhead and profit? Nothing. So if you guys really want to go deep, you're going to spend half of your time explaining your business model. And I think it's a complete waste of time. So my thought is, well, let's bring owners and key executives of roofing companies together. We'll meet on Zoom, but we'll be in all different markets. So there's no direct competition. So you can be very open about what's going on in your business and not worry about the guy down the street taking it and running with it, you know?
Mhm.
So we launched our first beta group about 6 months ago, and we just wanted to see, is this something valuable that people want to be a part of? And everybody in the group, man, was like, holy crap, this is phenomenal. We've never been a part of anything like this before. We've spent money on things over the years. I had one guy in the group, actually the most successful guy in the group. I think they're doing about 40 million a year. Um, and half of that's retail, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And it's all residential, no commercial. He told me, he said, I've spent countless thousands on consulting over the years, and he said, I've never been a part of anything like this. And he told us, just me and my partner, he said, you guys, I think this is going to be bigger than SVG. And I don't think it is, because we're not an online course. But his whole point was like, I've never been in a situation where I could sit across in a structured way every month from another owner and say, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that part of your business? This is a constant headache for me. He said, I've never been a part of anything like that. So we got great feedback. And then we decided, okay, well, we really need to nail down our process. We need to nail down our plan. Like, we need to know a year out what we're going to do with each group. And so we spent some time researching. We landed on EOS. And then we started polishing up some other stuff and started building the second group. So we just started building the second group a few months ago. We had another guy sign up this week, and we're going to go live as soon as we have 7 members.
So
So if you
you have
signed up,
one
you
group
would
of,
be this. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you have one group of 10, and then you have a second group of
That's
7.
right. We've got
Okay,
one beta group, and then we're building the second group now. And our goal is to fill one group per quarter. We're not trying to grow as fast as we can. We're really just trying to make sure we can execute in a phenomenal way to where you'll
Mhm.
go and tell anybody's or any friends you make in the industry, hey, you need to be a part of a Limitless group.
Now the first group, that's already, that process is underway. They've started the EOS course and all that.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So what kind of feedback have you gotten from that? Like, the guys finding some value?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, what the most successful guy in the group said he's never been a part of anything like it.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah. His name's
Yeah.
Wally Stein. We interviewed him on our podcast. The title of the show is Over 100,000 Roofs. He's done over 100,000 roofs since 1993,
Wow. Volume.
and he
Um,
is a very wealthy man.
yeah. Um, who are have you had a lot of people inquire about this?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm talking to people as much as I can. You know, the thing about Dallas right now is when that storm came through last week, you know, Texas is just not prepared for weather like that. Neither is Louisiana, for that matter. But I mean, I've never seen anything like it, man. I grew up in Texas, and we had, 8 inches of snow on the ground everywhere for an entire week. Shut the whole city of Dallas down, shut Houston down. And so everybody now is dealing with busted pipes and water damage all over their homes. So we immediately hired a consultant for water mitigation. And we actually brought 3 teams in from around the US, water certified water mitigation teams. And man, we are just covered up in water mitigation work right now, because my business partner owns Rain Tight General Contracting, and he and I founded Limitless. so so like I said, I mean, we're growing slow, but I mean, I'm talking to somebody about our CEO groups at least once every other day. Somebody's saying, hey,
Okay.
what's this like? In fact, I've got a guy about to sign up that's in another big program, kind of like ours, but he is like, after talking to you guys, yours is a little more structured, a little more put together, and the other program is 25 grand a year. Ours is 10 grand a year.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, we have another question for you. Dang, it was on the tip of my tongue, man. I just lost the question. Man, that sounds really good. I do see some potential value in that. Not every day you can go walk around and just chat it up with the roofer that's in your local area and talk about pain points and potential pitfalls and somebody that kind of wants to take you under their wing and show you some stuff, you know. So that is
Yeah.
very
Yeah. And for you guys, both of you guys are newcomers in the industry. So to be able to sit across from a guy that's been doing this 10, 15, 20 years and meet strategically once a month to know that, hey, once a month, we're going to be working on our business, not just in it. And we're going to get feedback from other guys in the business. So instead of each of us having 10 years experience combined in this industry, we're going to have 400 years of experience helping us to be strategic, to be successful, and to get what we want out of this business. I mean, it's priceless.
right. So I did through some of this stuff. I came across the EOS, and I went to their website, watched a little video, and looks like the guy that came up with this and wrote all the process has been doing it for a while. Um, has that been around a while, or is this relatively new? Or
You know, Gino, here's traction right here. Gino
right up?
Wickman, he wrote this in 2007. Yeah, he wrote this in 2007. So, um, and EOS was around before he wrote the book Traction. So, yeah, it's been around a while. And my background is my undergrad degree is organizational leadership. I love leadership, love thinking through leadership, love reading books about leadership. But I've never read a more practical book on like, hey, here's how to have an effective meeting. Step one, step two, step three. By the way, here's a template like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Make sure you spend the bulk of your meeting doing this part. I mean, it's just the most applicable book I've ever read on leadership. Whereas a lot of the other ones, like,
Is that track? Are you speaking on traction right there?
yeah, Traction.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I've seen that one here recently. I put it on my wish list.
Yeah. I mean, there's others like this one, The Leadership Challenge by Kouzes and Posner. I mean, this is required reading at the undergrad or graduate level in any leadership program, whether at Harvard or wherever. And this is a great book. But after you read this super thick book, you're not going to walk away going, I know how to run a meeting now. You're just not. You're going to walk away with a ton of information, but you're going to have some principles maybe, but traction is just like boom, 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 step by step. And a lot of the top 100 roofing companies in the US are running off of not traction, but EOS.
Okay, okay. Did you come up in roofing? You
No, man, my kind of like you, it's more of a friend thing. My business partner has been in roofing. He's been selling roofs for his dad ever since high school. So he's been in roofing for 25 years. He took the company over back in 2007. My buddy Miller became the owner of the company, Raintight General Contracting. They had about 10 sales guys, rocking and rolling, mostly insurance work. And I was in a period of transition about a year ago and approached Miller and just said, hey, man, I'm putting my feelers out there. Your wife and my wife are really good friends. I don't want to mess with that, but what would it look like to work together? So he brought me on to start selling roofs. And I'm also love just, connecting people and equipping people and stuff like that. And so we started a podcast and started interviewing owners and influencers in roofing. And out of that, like I said, just bouncing ideas off my mentor, had the idea of roofing CEO groups, and that's where we're at today.
okay? Okay, good stuff, man. It sounds like this group really provides the environment for what I'm looking for here. Um, so yeah, man, you have any like literature or pamphlets or brochures or anything, something that you can email me, or is it somewhere I can read over this a little bit more? I'm gonna have to watch this thing back because there was a lot of good information there and kind of pick up on some of the things you said. I got the gist of it, but if it's something that we want to make an investment in, I'll have to pitch it as well, and it'll help me if I can have all my ammunition ready. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can send you a link to a page we created that kind of explains a little more. I think the biggest thing is if you guys want to invest in your own development as leaders, and if you want to surround yourselves with other business owners and leaders, that's really the key. And our criteria is you've got to be a learner and you've got to be growth oriented, and not just growing revenue, but growing as a leader. And you got to be humble. We don't allow any chest pounding. I don't care if your company's doing 40 million a year, you still have stuff to learn. And frankly, you didn't get there on your own. You must have had some help along the way. So we don't allow any chest pounding. There's no hierarchy. Everybody in our CEO groups is there to learn from one another. They're not there to say, oh, well, we're doing this, so let us give you some advice. That's not what it's about. And I tell a story about when I started learning jujitsu at one of the top jujitsu schools in the U.S., run by Carlos Machado. Him and Hoist Gracie made jujitsu popular.
Hmm.
And so, Hoist Gracie's doing it in the UFC. Carlos Machado is doing it kind of not as in the spotlight as much. But anyway, these are the top guys, right? Well, when you go to do jujitsu at his one of his locations, there's a big sign over the doorway before you walk onto the mat, and it says, "Leave your ego at the door." And the reason is because even when you just get into jujitsu, you might be a white belt just starting out, and you got to spar with a blue belt, somebody that's been doing it for 2 or 3 years, and you might, because of a mixture of talent, energy, and luck, you may submit that blue belt. Now, as a white belt, that's not that big of a deal. It's like, wow, I finally got this rear naked choke on this guy. But for the blue belt, that really freaking sucks.
Yeah, I can
Now, in
see
front of
that.
all the other blue belts, you just got submitted by a guy that doesn't know what the heck he's doing. But that's not a big deal if you realize we're all there to learn, and the rising tide raises all ships. We're all there to help one another level up our game. And with that kind of attitude, your ego doesn't get in the way. So that's a big deal for us in our groups, man. We want to maintain, just like you guys want a quality culture at Pelican, we want a quality culture in our Limitless groups.
Uh, you said something keeping score earlier. You mentioned something about keeping score through all that, and I guess that means like I don't know if it's keeping score on people or keeping score on how you're performing. We have one of the things I need to do is develop a quality management system for us to be able to track our quality and measure it and how we're performing. Um, does that EOS provide any of that stuff, or if not that specific? I would imagine somebody in the group would probably be able to offer some suggestions on how they monitor.
Oh, so one of the 6 key components of the business in EOS is called data. So if you go to our website, let's see, what did I do here? I typed something wrong. If you go to limitlessceogroup.com and you scroll down the page and you see the 6 key components there, one of those is data. And so that involves scorecard and measurables. And so what are you measuring? And then how are you keeping score? What's the tool you use to measure those things, to keep score on those things? So what we teach and the template we would give you is not just measuring financial results, but measuring results based on the role that person has and based on the 90-day goals you give them. The company has 90-day goals, and from those company 90-day goals trickles down to that individual employee's 90-day goals. That their goals have to support the company's goals, or they're wasting time, and you're not all in line with the same vision. Everybody's not rowing in the same direction at the same speed. So once you have those 90-day goals in place, you measure that, you keep score on it. But our system, you keep score on whether or not they embody your core values. We have a tool called the People Analyzer, and we want to make sure you have the right people in the right seat. A lot of companies just keep score on whether somebody's in the right seat, they're productive in that seat. Well, what if they're not the right person? How do you analyze that? If you don't know how to analyze that as a leader or key executive in your company, you're going to have problems. You're going to have somebody like A very effective sales guy that you make a sales manager, very effective at sales, not so effective at embodying your core values of humility and friendliness and whatever, might start to alienate other sales guys. Next thing you know, you got people that other people don't want to be around. And that's where you get a company culture issues. So one of the things we teach to keep score on is keeping score on certain assets that the person brings to the table, mostly your core values.
Those goals, are those key goals or specific goals for every company? Or are they unique to each company? Are they unique to positions? And do like I think of a certain position, like a project manager position or a production manager position. Every 90 days, it's like what would be a new goal other than let's make sure we schedule X amount of roofs per day or a certain amount of squares per day. Um, or maybe it's a goal of like we don't have to push any customers or whatever the case may be. Seems like every 90 days, I mean, well, that's 3 months. So you're really just coming up with a set of goals for time process.
So you start more general. You say, okay, for our company, what are our company? We call them rocks. It's a whole principle from Stephen Covey's First Things First, whereas he says, imagine you have this big clear jar, and that's your time, right? And you've got rocks, pebbles, sand, and water. Well, most people plan their life and even their company, and the water and the sand is just like all the stuff that's happening, and that goes in first. And then the pebbles are the things you want to happen, and those go in next. And then the rocks don't fit, but they're the most important things, are the biggest things you want to accomplish for your life. Most people put those in last. So the idea, the program we teach is you begin with rocks. You say, what are the 3 to 7 most important priorities for our company over the next year? 3 to 7 max. Because if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. What are the top 3 to 7 priorities for our company? Then you take those and you turn those into 90-day rocks. From those 3 to 7 annual goals that we have, what are over the next 90 days, what are mission critical, the 3 to 7 things per role. So you're the COO, your friend is the visionary, you've got an office manager, and you got a sales manager. For those 4 roles, what are absolutely mission critical over the next 90 days? What are the top 3 to 7 priorities? Not things, not number of calls, not whatever. What are the top 3 to 7 priorities as a company that shows you that at the end of that 90 days, you will have hit a milestone and you guys are going to hit your annual target?
I see.
From those 3 to 7 priorities come the pebbles, the nitty gritty. That means this many calls per week. That means this many connections with realtors every month. That means this many contracts signed. But you start with the rocks. You start with the big things. It's beginning with the end in mind.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see. So it's more so geared for the leadership positions, and then we set those company milestones or rocks or goals, and then we make sure the people that we lead are doing what they have to do in order for the company to meet.
Yep. And we have a tool we use. It's basically a 2-page business plan called a Vision Traction Organizer, or VTO for short. I can email it to you for free. It's not going to do you guys a lot of good without training on how to use it, but I can email it to you and give it away to you for free. And then the goals, we use something called rock sheets. Everybody gets a rock sheet. And that way everybody knows, and you're actually required when you run on EOS, you bring your rock sheet to your weekly meeting. Like, hey kid, here's my rock sheet, man. We talked. I've got my 6 things right here, and here's where I'm at with everyone. We're tracking. We got traction. We're good.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, this is
Gotcha.
how to run a business. I mean, it's like corporate level expertise, so it applies to any company, but it's based on your core values, what's important to you guys, and what your goals are for the company. But this is just the how to get there.
Okay. Yeah, man, I'd be interested in learning a little bit more about that. If you have some stuff that I can pull up or print out or whatever the case may be, to kind of look over it and see if this is something we want jump into.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, take a look at it and then come, you and I can follow up and you just let me know what boxes need to be checked for you guys um, to invest in something like this, and if we can't
Right.
check those boxes, man, I'll tell you, we're not here to be all things to all people. It's not possible. In fact, I may refer you to somebody else, and we do that sometimes. Um, but I think you'd be a great fit I think you'd be a great fit for the program. You guys are at a good spot. And I mean, I know what it can do for you as far as removing limits, enabling you to become scalable, giving you the wisdom from other industry, seasoned guys in the business looking over your shoulder. Um, but yeah, I'll send you that email and let's just follow up and talk from there. Let me know how I can help you, man.
Okay, Dylan, sounds great, man. Appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for your time, man.
All right, you too, kid. Have a good weekend.
You too, man. Thank you.